Hi, everyone. I'm Ronnie.
And I'm Jessica.
And you're listening to Clean With Me,
the podcast where we walk you through cleaning your house.
Thanks for joining me. In today's episode, I'm going to talk you through cleaning your kitchen while motivating you to keep it clean and providing some tips for doing that. So it's time to gear up for our cleaning session. Maybe you want to quickly get presentable, maybe run a brush through your hair, wash your face, or possibly put on a full face of makeup, whatever you feel like doing to feel ready for the day. Or maybe you're already groomed for the day and you want to get your house smelling nice. A good way to kick off a kitchen cleaning session is to take out the trash. And I also like to straighten up the front entrance if it's needed. If my living room is in order, which is the front room of my home, I'll head straight to the kitchen. But if it's not, I'll want to pick up a little bit first. So you might want to do that. And of course, I can talk faster than you can do these things. I'm just giving you some ideas on how to prepare for the kitchen cleaning session. Another thing you might want to do is get your washing machine running. Maybe you need to move the clothes from the washing machine into the dryer and start a new load, or just start a new load. Maybe you need to wash clothes, or maybe you need to strip a bed and get some bedding going. When I'm starting an early morning cleaning session, oftentimes I will strip a bed and wash the bedding because I want to make sure that stuff's done. Sometimes it takes a couple dryer cycles to get, the comforter dry or whatever. So I like to get an early start on that. So it may be too late in the day. Maybe you want to wash something else, or maybe this isn't a laundry day for you at all. I try to do some laundry on most days, or at least a couple times a week. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about gearing up for your kitchen cleaning session. Some of you have been listening a while. You know what I'm going to say next. It's time to gather up dishes from around the house. Maybe you have cups or glasses on your nightstand, your coffee table. Maybe there's a bowl on a nightstand or coffee table. Maybe you need to check a teenager's room for dishes. We all have our little habits. Maybe you keep a glass on the ledge by your bathtub. We all have those habits. So let's gather up any forgotten dishes from around the house. And maybe there's something else that you want to run through the dishwasher today. A lot of times if you're ahead of the game and you're just kind of looking to increase a dishwasher load, if you use a dishwasher, you can add things like your bathroom toothbrush holders or some children's toys. So let's gather anything up that needs to be taken to your dishwasher or just your sink area. Let's get that together. And of course, once you get into the kitchen and you have all the dishes together, you're going to want to put away any clean dishes from your drying rack, dishwasher, or both. Start washing dishes and then clean the surfaces of your kitchen. And kind of the way this show works is if you're facing a disaster, meaning you have way more dirty dishes than what is ideal, you will mainly focus on that and then wipe down your stovetop, countertops, clean out your sink, and give the kitchen floor a sweep. However, if you only have a few dishes, you've been keeping up, or you just haven't been cooking or whatever, then you'll only spend a few minutes doing those few dishes and you can do a deeper clean of your kitchen. Because I promise you, if you start cleaning your kitchen from start to finish every day, it's going to get easier. It's going to get faster, and you're going to go deeper with your cleaning. A lot of people will say things like, well, I have a messy house. I'm messy, but I'm not dirty. And that can be true to an extent. However, when you are messy, it takes you longer to deal with the clutter and get to the surfaces. Same thing with disasters. When you have more than a dishwasher load or more than a couple sink loads of dishes to wash, that kind of eats up your time and energy, and you find yourself doing the bare minimum and maybe forgetting to clean the inside of your microwave or, not wiping down walls as often as you'd like. You see what I'm saying? When you get a handle on dishes, you'll be able to go deeper with your cleaning, but no judgment here. If you've got a lot of dishes to do today, even if that's all you get done during this episode, that's an accomplishment. And tomorrow you won't have as much of a dishwashing project to contend with. Make sense? Anyway, you might need to do an empty reload and run of your dishwasher and then hand wash some things, or you might be washing everything by hand. And like I said, once the dishes are done, you're going to work on cleaning surfaces in your kitchen. So you know what to do in the kitchen. I'm going to talk about getting the motivation to clean your kitchen and how to just keep up on it when it seems next to impossible. Maybe you find yourself going to bed most nights with a sink full of dishes and cluttered countertops, and you hate that, but you feel like you just can't do any better because you don't have the energy or perhaps the motivation in the evenings, and all you want to do is just relax or go to bed early or watch a movie, spend time with your spouse, things like that. That's natural to feel that way, but believe it or not, there is a solution. You could actually reset your kitchen every night in less than 10 or 15 minutes if you implemented a few small habits during the day, especially during your food preparation at dinner time. Okay? So I want to help you live a simpler lifestyle. Even if you have a large family, you cook a lot from scratch. Believe me, I've been there. I'm still kind of in the trenches. My kids are older now. 3 of them are adults living on their own, and 3 are living with me. So let's talk about these habits. And of course, be working on your dishes and kitchen surfaces while I talk. Dishes first. Toss any trash, relocate things around the house that don't belong in the kitchen. And of course, end with a sweep and possibly a mop if you have time. Again, if all you get done is just your dishes and giving the countertop and stovetop a swipe, you've made progress and it'll be easier tomorrow. Okay? So the best way to shorten your kitchen reset time is to work on these little habits, because people who keep a clean kitchen, it's not because they just don't mind doing this huge project at the end of the day. Let's face it, it's because they're keeping their kitchen relatively clean. Okay? What it is you're trying to change from this project mentality of this extensive kitchen cleaning session that you feel like you should be doing at the end of the day, but then sometimes you just say, forget it, not going to do anything, or you fall asleep before you do it, something like that. We're going to replace that with some smaller tasks and then a short 10 or 15 minute reset. Okay, maybe even less, maybe even a 5-minute reset. Okay. You would be surprised how we sometimes can overestimate kitchen cleaning tasks in our mind. What I'm trying to do is help you minimize that final kitchen reset at the end of the day so that you don't feel overwhelmed and end up not doing it at all. Okay? And of course, just be working on your kitchen while I talk about this. And this next part is not something I want you to do right now. It's just something we're going to talk about. And that's decluttering unnecessary items from your kitchen. Okay. It could be just getting rid of things. It could be relocating things. It could be streamlining your countertop to where there aren't as many obstacles. It could mean taking things out of circulation. I love my kitchen gadgets. I love having plenty of serving dishes and extra plates for entertaining around the holidays, because that's the main time I even entertain. Okay. I love having all that stuff, but I also take a lot of it out of circulation and put it in a really high cabinet in the back where people can't see certain things. Because if I need something only at Thanksgiving or when I'm having some random dinner party, maybe in the summertime, I don't want people to pull those things out when they can't find something clean or whatever. Okay. Especially if you're leaving teenagers home and you're going to be gone, and you never know. Okay. Sometimes there's a situation where you, as the primary homemaker, which I'm assuming you are if you're listening to this show, kind of drops the ball, leaves a mess, and then other people are adding to the mess, and you don't want it to end up like an old episode of the Andy Griffith Show where Aunt B was gone and the dad and the little boy, Opie, just dirty every possible dish in the kitchen. You don't want that to happen. So taking things out of circulation is one of the ways that I declutter. Okay. And there is a time for getting rid of things in your kitchen. Not necessarily during this episode if you're facing a disaster, but if your kitchen is in good shape, by all means declutter. But sometimes we end up with lids where we no longer have the container that goes to it, and there are things that we actually need to get rid of. So at some point, it'll be a good idea to declutter any unnecessary items from your kitchen and possibly store some things out of sight, out of mind. Okay. Speaking of decluttering, in an upcoming episode, I'm going to talk about why your house is cluttered and what needs to be done about it. And we're definitely going to talk about finding places for things and stuff like that. So that's something to be looking forward to. But for now, I just want you to think about decluttering and streamlining your kitchen to make it a little easier to clean. That's not going to be the huge game changer, but it's going to help a little bit. Now, when you create a big project at the end of the day, you have to have a lot of willpower to tackle that. And sometimes you just can't muster up that cleaning motivation and you don't have the willpower. That's why we're going to talk about implementing habits and doing little things earlier in the day to kind of prevent that overwhelm, that sense of overwhelm at the end. I mean, for example, it's easier to come up with the willpower to wash just one dish after you use it than to clean a disaster kitchen where the whole family is following your example of just rinsing something off and putting it in the sink instead of washing it. And again, I'm not judging anyone here. I've struggled with this myself, so I'm not saying like I'm the perfect kitchen cleaner. I'm just talking about what I've learned through experience, what I've been doing lately, and hoping that can help you. But one of the habits you're going to want to implement is washing your own dishes as you use them. This can mean different things for different people. If you're the type of family where you put things into the dishwasher throughout the day and then run it at the end, that's definitely a thing. A lot of people do it. So washing your own dish as you use it in that case could just mean pre-rinsing it and placing it into the dishwasher. Okay. That can pretty much solve everything for a lot of people, but things can get complicated with bigger families. families where a lot of people are home during the day, families where people are cooking during the day. I mean, let's face it, some households, grab a cup of coffee in the morning and they pack a lunch, which is like a sandwich in a baggie or something, and then there's just dinner, okay? But some of us have people home during the day, and especially right now with it being summer, even if your kids are in school 5 days a week, they may be home right now if you have kids, that is, if you have school-aged kids. So that system might work for you. It's never quite worked for us. We've got different people cooking, and when my kids were little, I worried that they would try to pull dirty items out of the dishwasher because they were already in the habit of looking for clean cups in there. And another obstacle to that, of course, is having to determine whether they're clean or dirty in the dishwasher before you rinse a dish and put it into the dishwasher. Okay? Kind of for that system to work, you have to have a set time where you empty it, either at the end of the night or in the morning. But that's something to think about. It might work for your household. It might not. Okay. What I've found works better for us is requiring people to hand wash the dishes that they dirty throughout the day. I'm not talking about the dinner where we all eat together. I'm talking about breakfast, lunch, independent, unauthorized meals. And when I say unauthorized meals, I don't mean they're not allowed to prepare the food. I mean, it wasn't my idea to start this project, so you're going to clean it up. That type of thing. And of course, I don't enforce rules on my husband or anything like that. He's usually not home during the day. If he does dirty something, it's because he's going right back to work or something. I'm mainly talking about kids here. It's not good for the relationship to act like your spouse's parent or something. So a really good thing to keep in mind is that when you start to improve your own household habits, it can rub off. And let's face it, if one person isn't following the rule and there's a stray dish, it may not be a big deal. It's when everyone's leaving stray dishes around. Okay. I didn't mean to go on a rabbit trail there, but in our family, with those breakfast, lunch dishes, those little mini cooking projects, what have you, people are supposed to wash their own dish, pan, spatula, whatever they used. For example, if somebody fried a couple eggs and made some toast, ideally they're going to put that meal on a disposable plate, but we use real forks, and they're going to need to wash that 12-inch skillet and the spatula that they used to flip the eggs. And ideally, they should put the salt and pepper away when they're done as well, and throw away the eggshells. Okay, so focus on washing your own dishes as you use them. I mean, of course, start with yourself so that people aren't like, well, you don't do that or whatever. And then start encouraging your tribe to follow suit. Okay, so it can be hard to change other people's habits, but even changing your own habits can decrease the mess. Okay, so that's a good place to start. Okay, because I understand that your spouse might not want to wash a dish or whatever, but maybe there's things that your spouse does that you don't want to do, and you're grateful for that. So this isn't about the division of labor. It's just about simplifying your dishwashing routine so that you don't have a buildup at the end of the day. Okay. The next habit that I want you to implement is clearing out your kitchen sink every night. Okay. Because once you're used to washing your own dishes throughout the day, it's not as big of an undertaking to do the dishes at night, especially if while you're preparing dinner, you're cleaning as you go. Okay, so I'm not just saying clear out the sink at night because you're probably going, yeah, I know I'm supposed to do that. I don't feel like doing it. Well, that starts while you're preparing dinner. Okay, I like to fill my sink with hot, soapy water while I'm starting to cook. And then when I'm done with something, say a cutting board, a knife, I wash them right then and there. Okay. I also like to make sure that let's say I walk into a kitchen, the dishes are done because we've been doing dishes throughout the day, but there are things in the drying rack, there are clean dishes in the dishwasher, okay, just clean stuff. I'll start dinner, and then when I have that downtime where I'm waiting for water to boil or waiting for something to brown on one side, what have you, after I've done the initial like chopping and prep work and I've gotten things going and I'm just there to supervise, I'll start that dishwater, and I'll also put away all the clean dishes. That makes it easy to wash things as I go, as far as pots, pans. And I've talked about this in other episodes. With a lot of meals, I like to transfer things from the pan that I cooked in into a serving dish, which will also double as a storage container. So using a serving dish may sound like an extra step, but it's not if you're planning on having leftovers that are going to go into the fridge. That allows you to wash that pan while the food's still hot. Okay, that can make it so much easier if you don't like to scrub, or if you're cooking a lot of courses and you're baking bread and you're making dessert and you're pulled in a few different directions. Maybe you're helping someone with homework, or you're talking, you're getting distracted. You can also just pre-rinse a pan and submerge it in that hot dishwater so that nothing dries on or whatever. Okay, so the key is planning ahead by putting away your clean dishes early on, having some dishwater going, and just cleaning as you go. And this, of course, also because a messy kitchen isn't just about dishes. Part of the feeling of overwhelm is all the clutter that ends up on the counter. So when you're done with an ingredient, you can put that away. Okay, I like to get out all of my ingredients at the beginning and then put them away as I use them. One slight exception or variation is when I'm baking. I usually don't put the ingredients away until I have them all incorporated. I'm not going to be putting them away one by one, because then I'm super distractible. I might be like, did I even use the baking powder or whatever? Like, I might start to question it. So I like everything out to where I can kind of see what I've done. And of course, before anything goes into the oven or I turn on my bread maker, I always go over my recipe list. I use recipes when I'm baking. Cooking, I'm usually using more of a method. But when I'm baking, I'm measuring ingredients, and I like to always kind of look over to make sure I've included everything. So once that process is done and the item's baking, that's when I'll put everything away. But with cooking, I'm putting things away like after each step, if that makes sense. Like the cutting board step that I mentioned, I'm washing that cutting board and knife and probably tossing the plastic bag that produce came in or whatever. So when I say clearing your sink or sink area every night, as far as having all the dishes done, I'm not talking about having a huge mess to contend with every night. You may have that now, but I want it to be easier on most days. And we all fall off the wagon and have disasters. And that's part of what this show is for cleaning a messy kitchen. Now, if you've taken the time to declutter your kitchen, maybe you can do that during one of my decluttering episodes or in the upcoming episode. You'll have kind of a baseline for how your kitchen counters should look when they're cleared off. Okay. I always like to kind of reassess which appliances I'm using and what can be put away. Okay. Right now, the bread machine is perpetually on the counter because I am obsessed with making dinner rolls. I made these round loaves for a while. Now I've moved on to dinner rolls, but I'm definitely in a bread baking phase, so that's going to stay out. But things like the Instant Pot or the crock pot don't belong because they're not everyday items at my house, so they're not part of that baseline look for my countertop. And the fewer obstacles you have, the easier it is to give those countertops a swipe, after cooking or right before bed, or ideally both times. Okay? Now, speaking of decluttering, I don't want you to declutter during that evening cleaning session, that quick 10 or 15 minute reset. That's not the time to declutter. The main focus for that evening session is to get the dishes done and to put away any clutter. Just clear off your countertops, give them a swipe. Give the stovetop a swipe. Sweep if needed. Okay, that's not the time that you're going to mop. It's not the time, and I mean, unless you want to, but I'm trying to make this easy on you. I like to do just a real quick thing where I wash any remaining dishes, give the countertops and stovetop a swipe, and maybe do a little spot sweep of the kitchen if I, was going crazy on the island chopping and stuff flew off or whatever. It's just a quick touch-up, okay? And I have it on the chore list for kids to sweep and mop on various days. So that's the main. Sweeping and mopping is not my job. It may be your job. But it's important to keep that evening reset minimal, okay? Now, don't get me wrong. If you have a huge mess in your kitchen and, you want to have a nice day tomorrow and you're motivated to tackle it, great. And I'm not trying to talk you out of getting all your dishes done before bed. It's important. It's good. It's great. Okay. But I'm just talking about kind of a system that makes that quicker, because I'd rather do the deeper cleaning tasks during the day. Personally, if I was responsible for sweeping and mopping, I would want to do that during the day when I have time to just leisurely declutter and when I have more energy. Some of you have higher energy levels in the morning. Some of you it's in the afternoon. And yet some of you are just night owls who want to clean your kitchen at midnight. Okay, but this system isn't really for the night owl, because I'm trying to make your evening routine as short as possible. Hopefully by now you've gotten your dishes done and you're possibly even done cleaning the surfaces of your kitchen and you're doing that final sweep. Hopefully. One other thing I want to just emphasize is modeling good behavior, especially if you have kids, to where you're showing them how to wash the dishes. And of course you have to kind of follow up. Hey, whose the dish is this? You forgot to wash it. Things like that. This isn't about parenting, but ideally, if you have kids in your household, you're going to want to train them on the habit of washing their own dishes. Now, this is going to differ for different ages. If you're the family who puts things into the dishwasher, I know that one of my sister-in-laws had her kids trained just as toddlers to rinse off their plate, put it in the dishwasher after a meal. Definitely everyone should be clearing their plate after a meal. I was raised that way. It's poor manners. I mean, especially at someone else's house, but don't do this at your own house either, to just eat a meal, maybe at the table or the coffee table, and then just walk away from that plate and fork. Now, of course, your kids are at minimum taught to take it to the sink and run water over it and set it in the sink. That used to be the rule that we had for a long time. And that is still our rule at dinner time. Again, breakfast, lunch, unauthorized baking projects, whatever, they're going to kind of clean their own mess as they go. But after the family dinner, they are allowed to rinse the plate and fork, set them in the sink. Because if I'm cleaning as I go while I'm cooking, I'm only going to have a few things to wash. And I said plates, but we're usually using disposable plates. So often I'm just tossing some paper plates and kind of putting the forks in the dishwasher or something after, running them under running water. and scrubbing them with a scrub brush. I like to do a little pre-rinse thing with a scrub brush under running water, stick them in the dishwasher. A lot of times I give my husband a real plate because I want it to be a nice presentation when I bring him that meal, and it looks better on a larger plate that's a real plate. And then the kids and I will just grab a paper plate. That's how we do it sometimes. If it's a steak dinner, we're all using real plates. It's not a real hard and fast rule, but the way I keep people from dirtying up a bunch of plates is I pile my disposable plates on top. So that's the default. They're automatically just grabbing that plate. They're not thinking about it. I'm reaching under the paper plates to give my husband a real plate. And depending, if it's a real casual meal, I'm going to give him the disposable plate. But if it's something that I want to look kind of presentable when it's plated, I might use a regular plate. Okay, but imagine cleaning as you go and you're mainly just pre-rinsing forks and putting them in the dishwasher, or washing them real quick, or getting them soaking if you want to do a little sesh before bed. Okay, I mean, some people's kitchens are closed after dinner, but some people are eating dessert, they're snacking. Ideally, a lot of us need to go back into the kitchen and clean up any additional messes at the very end of the day, long after dinner, if you're a dessert family or a late night snacking family. I try not to eat anything after dinner. Of course, I'm trying to lose weight right now. And no, I'm not really into like the periodic fasting or any of that lately. Eating after dinner would cause me to exceed my calorie budget. And I've just found that if I eat a light dinner, go to bed a little hungry, I'm going to be lighter in the morning. That's my system. I hope you got some kitchen cleaning motivation in this episode. I hope you cleaned your kitchen and got some ideas about maybe turning over a new leaf and making it less overwhelming to have your dishes all done by the end of the day, every day, and your countertops cleared and wiped down. Special thanks to my financial supporters. If you want additional cleaning motivation, you can subscribe to bonus content. There are several ways to do that. Visit cleanwithmepodcast.com for more information on that, or click on the link in the description. I don't expect anyone to subscribe to bonus content, but I really think it'll help you, and I sure appreciate it when someone does. Most of all, just keep listening. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you in the next episode.